Hi all, welcome to TOEFL workshop. This is your first meeting in a TOEFL preparation class. My name is Mr. Aris, and we'll also work with Miss Hani, and we are from English Tutor Samarinda that is going to work with you and teach you the test taking strategies in taking TOEFL tests later on. So our meeting in this session is to discuss the key strategies and the guided practice on TOEFL paper-based tests. But before we go on with the test taking strategies, I would like to discuss why do we need to take TOEFL. So first, TOEFL is a very well-known English proficiency test, and it is also an internationally recognized test, and it enables you to open doors for academic and professional success. As we know that a lot of universities and colleges require TOEFL for their university entrance. And then a lot of companies now also need you to provide a TOEFL certificate as a proof of English proficiency. Other than that, scholarship bodies also requires TOEFL, such as Australian Award Scholarship, LPDP, or other scholarships from our local government and also international government. Immigration also use them to issue residential and work visas. So it is very essential for you to prepare yourself for the TOEFL test. And these are some of the scholarships that I already mentioned. Now we come to the overall tactics and strategies of the TOEFL. Let's start off with the format of paper-based tests. There are three sections in TOEFL paper-based tests. The first one is listening comprehension. It contains 50 questions and the time will be 40 minutes. And the second section is structure and written expression. And there are 40 questions for 25 minutes. And the last one is reading comprehension. There are 50 questions and the time is 60 minutes. So TOEFL is a timed test. So that's why it is very important for you to know the test taking strategies. And the purpose of knowing the strategies is for you to be able to focus and concentrate better in looking for the location of the answers in the listening, which is in the conversation, and also in the talk, and also in the grammar questions, in the structure and written expression, and also to look for the location of the answers in the reading passages that you're going to work with. So the first goal is for you to concentrate better, to improve your focus in finding the location, the position of the information that will lead you to the best answer of the question. The second one is with the test taking strategies, it will help you to answer it more carefully, but also more quickly. Okay, so the second goal is for you to be able to answer it more carefully and also more quickly. And of course, the last one is the test taking strategies is hoped to be able to improve your score. But remember that test taking strategies itself are not adequate, are not enough. You also have to improve your English proficiency, which is to improve your vocabulary knowledge and also your grammar knowledge. So it's also important to read a lot, to improve vocabulary, also to improve your grammar knowledge. The two components important to TOEFL, vocabulary and your grammar. And of course, you can also do additional practice by listening to video, to the audio, and also to do a lot of reading. Let's go to the general tips. The first general tips is to be familiar with the directions for each sections of the test. The purpose is for you to understand or to be familiar with the directions is later on in the task. You don't have to read carefully the directions again, so you can focus on handling or working on the questions right away. So you have to gain time or you have to steal time not to read the directions again because you are already familiar, and then you can go on by reading the answers of the question in listening, by reading the questions right away in the reading section and also in the structure section. Second one is don't spend too much time on one part of the test. So remember that it is a time test, so you don't want to spend too much time on one part of the test, even in one questions. Be careful. In listening, your time will be limited with the recording audio time, but in structure, for example, you only have 25 minutes for 40 questions. That is a very short time. You have to be able to answer one question in less than 1 minute. So you don't want to spend so much time in one part of the test, for example, on the structure and written expression, and you will run out of time for reading comprehension. So remember, you have to do it carefully, but also quickly. Next one is eliminate obviously incorrect answers. So this is what you do when you have to guess the correct answers. Because TOEFL is a multiple choice. There will be 4 choices, A, B, C, D, and there are usually 2 obviously incorrect answers, 1 answer that tries to trap you or that tries to trick you, and 1 answer is the best answer. So if you want to guess 1 correct answer, so let's say that you are not sure that you want to guess, try to eliminate obviously incorrect answers and try to choose between the rest of the 2. So you will have a bigger chance of answering the correct answer. Next is never leave any answers blank. There will be no penalty in getting incorrect answer. So if you have to guess, just guess. Who knows that it will be the correct answer? And if it is incorrect, there will be no penalty. There will be no score reduction. The last one is, as I told you, that test taking strategies are not enough. You have to work on improving your English, your skill, and strategies specific to the TOEFL test, especially the 2 components, vocabulary and the grammar. And the vocabulary and the grammar is not only the general vocabulary and grammar, but formal academic vocabulary and grammar. So you need to read a lot of articles, news, you can watch documentary videos, you can watch news that will provide you with a lot of academic, more specific and technical vocabulary and grammar. And remember, the grammar is the formal written grammar. Okay, now we come to the first section of the key strategies we are going to work on with the listening comprehension. Let's start off with the general strategies for listening. The first general strategies is the same, be familiar with the directions. Why? So later on you can skip this part. So you don't have to listen to the directions anymore because the direction will be the same. So what you can do is try to skip this part and then go to the answers part. So you can read the question and answers right away, and then you can gain time to understand the questions and the answers in the textbook. Second one is listen carefully to the conversation and talks. So sometimes we take this for granted. So what you have to do is listen carefully. Just focus on listening to the conversation, understanding the talks, and then you look at the questions after that. So remember, don't read and listen to the conversation and talks at the same time. Again, don't read the questions and then listen to the conversation and talk at the same time. So you want to listen carefully to the conversation and talks first, and then read the questions. But you can understand or read the question and the answers right away when you skip the directions. So you skip the directions, you read the questions ahead, you read the answers ahead, and then later on you can listen carefully to the conversation and talks. Number 3 is know where the easier and difficult questions are generally found. The first part of the listening are the easier, and the last part of the listening are the difficult questions. So focus on the easier part. Make sure that you don't miss any correct answers on the first part of the listening, and then you can spend much more time on, or you can concentrate better on the last part of the questions. And again, here you are reminded to never leave any answers blank on your answer sheet, because there is no penalty in getting incorrect answer. And of course, you can always guess on the correct answer. And use any remaining time to look ahead. This is what I told you in the first part. You can skip directions and look ahead at the answers to the questions that follow. Let's go now to listening part A. There will be 3 parts in listening. Part A, Part B, and Part C. Part A contains 30 questions. And in Part A, the conversation will be a short conversation. Let's start with the first key strategy in listening comprehension Part A. Remember, there are 30 questions in Part A, and one conversation is followed by one question. One conversation is followed by one question. Let's take a look at the example here. So in your textbook, you will read 4 choices of answers, and then a question will be recorded and will be narrated to you. This is the transcript of the conversation, and let's play the example.
From the paper TOEFL tests.
Billy really made a big mistake this time.
Yes, he forgot to turn in his research paper.
What does the woman say about Billy? TOEFL exercise 1. In this exercise...
Okay, so on the recording you hear, Billy really made a big mistake this time. Yes, he forgot to turn in his research paper. And the question is, what does the woman say about Billy? Now, the first strategy in Part A is to focus on the last line. Why we have to focus on the last line? Because most of the answers in Part A will be found on the last line of the conversation, or the last speaker of the conversation. Okay, one more time. Why we have to focus on the last line? Because most of the answers in Part A, the 30 questions, will be found in the last line or on the last line of the conversation. Here, on the last line, you read, yes, he forgot to turn in his research paper. So this is what we have to concentrate on, because this is where the answer is located. So when you listen to this carefully, okay, and then it's time for you to choose the answer, try to choose answers with the same meaning. He forgot to turn in his research paper. So the answer for this is not A, not B. Okay, be careful with similar word, because this is usually the answer that would like to trick you. Not C, because it's not talking about the wrong place, but he talked about forgetting to turn in his research paper. So forgot is similar with didn't remember. Turn in is synonymous to submit, and research paper is the same with his assignment. So the best answer for this example is Delta. D, he didn't remember to submit his assignment. Now, we can tell this answer by focusing on the last line of the conversation. Okay, so remember, for every short conversation in part A, try to focus on the last line. Try to concentrate, understand the ideas of the last speaker conversation or the last speaker line, and then choose answers that represents the idea or the keyword on the last line. Okay, so this is a bit too much focus. All right, now let's have the exercise. Let's have the guided practice. There are 5 questions. So later on, when you skip directions, you can understand or read ahead on the answers on the textbook. Try to understand the words, the keywords in the answers. Okay, remember this is part A, which is short conversation followed by one question. So one short conversation, one question. One short conversation, one question. Now let's listen for number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
TOEFL Exercise 1. In this exercise, listen carefully to the short conversation and question in the recording, and then choose the best answer to the question. You should focus carefully on the second line. Number 1.
How soon will you be leaving?
I'm on my way now.
What does the man mean? Number 2.
Was Steve able to get into the house?
I left the door unlocked for him.
What does the woman assume Steve did? Number 3.
The dinner special is roast turkey with mashed potatoes and gravy and apple pie for dessert.
That doesn't sound good to me.
What does the woman mean? Number 4.
Could you help me with my physics homework tonight? I'm really having trouble with it.
Sorry, I'm busy tonight.
What does the man imply? Number 5.
What did you think of Professor Martin's lecture on the migratory habits of whales?
I couldn't keep my eyes open.
What does the woman mean? Number 6.
Have this month's bills been paid, or is
Okay, so those were the 5 questions for the exercise. Number 1, if you remember, the last line was, I'm on my way now. I'm on my way now. And the best answer is A, yes, he is leaving now. So the best answer is he is leaving now because it has the same meaning with I'm on my way now. And again, we found the answer on the last line, right? So the man said, I'm on my way now. For number 2, the last line was, I left the door unlocked for him. I left the door unlocked for him. Okay, so from this last line, we can choose the answer is C, that the man was able to open the door because the woman left the door unlocked for him. So it has the same meaning with C, he was able to open the door. Number 3, the last line was, it doesn't sound good to me. Okay, from this, we can choose answer D. She'd prefer a different dinner because the roast turkey in the restaurant doesn't sound good to the woman. So the woman say she'd prefer, so we can infer that she'd prefer a different dinner. So the answer is delta. And for number 4, the last line was, sorry, I'm busy tonight. So we can conclude from this last line that the answer is B, Bravo. He can help her tonight because he said that he is busy tonight. All right. Be careful with the tricky answer C. He's sorry, yes, but it's not that he can ever help her, but he can't help her tonight. And for number 5, the last line was, I couldn't keep my eyes open. Okay, from this last line, we can choose answer C. The class was boring because it makes him sleepy, right? I couldn't keep my eyes open. I couldn't keep my eyes open. Yeah, not eyes open, but couldn't keep my eyes open. So it's not that her eyes hurt. It's not that she thought the lecture was great, but she thought that the class was boring. So from these examples, okay, it can confirm that most of the answers generally will be found on the last line. So that's why the first key strategies in listening part A is to listen carefully or concentrate or focus on the last line or the last speaker of the conversation, because that's where the answer is found. And then you choose answer that has similar ideas or similar meaning. Okay, so that was the first key strategies. Now let's go to the second strategy. Find answers with synonym. Let's take a look at the example. The format is still the same. It is a short conversation followed by one question. Let's listen to it, and you can also read the transcript here.
Example from the paper TOEFL tests.
Why is Barbara feeling so happy?
She just started working in a real estate agency.
What does the man say about Barbara? TOEFL exercise 2. In this...
Okay, so on the recording you hear, why is Barbara feeling so happy? And the man said she just started working in real estate agency. And the narrator say, what does the man say about Barbara? The question is, what does the man say about Barbara? So again, the question asks information about the last speaker. So you still have to focus on the last line. So remember, focusing on the last line can be used for all questions in part A. But now, when you try to remember, when you try to understand the last line, try to listen for or try to find answers with synonyms. So try to remember the keywords. The keywords are usually the verb, okay? Now here we have the word started working. So let's see if we can find the synonyms of started working. And here we can find that the synonym of started is began. Okay. So the synonym of started is began, and then working is a new job. So once you focus on the last line and try to find the keywords or the ideas, and then try to find the synonyms or answers with similar ideas. Once you found a synonym, you can be sure that you have found the correct answer. Choose B for this example, right? Okay. So the second key strategy is to find answers with synonym. Now let's try to do exercise 2. There are 5 questions. Okay, so I just gave you some time to understand the answers. It is important to look ahead before you listen to the conversation. Now remember, once the audio is played, just focus on listening, and then you read the answers after you are done listening and after you heard the question.
TOEFL Exercise 2. In this exercise, listen carefully to the short conversation and question in the recording, and then choose the best answer to the question. You should look for synonyms for key words in the second line. Number 1.
What did you think of the final exam in algebra?
It was too easy.
What does the man mean? Number 2.
How are you feeling today?
I'm really feeling rather sick.
How is the man feeling? Number 3.
Has your family been in business for quite some time?
No, the family business was just established last year.
What does the woman say about the family business? Number 4.
Did you have to wait at the airport for a long time?
No, the plane landed right on schedule.
What does the man mean? Number 5.
Do you want to join me in the pool?
Oh, I'll just run and put my suit on.
What does the woman imply? Number 6.
Last night's fire.
All right, let's discuss the answers for exercise 2. Find answers with synonym. So number 1, the last line was it was too easy. So for number 1, the last line was it was too easy. All right, now we know that you have to find synonyms, but synonyms doesn't mean a similar word, but similar ideas. So the answer for this is delta. Even though that difficult is the antonym of easy, but we can see that there is article not here, that there is not here. So the idea is the same with too easy. Not very difficult is the same with too easy. Okay, so that's why the answer is delta. And for number 2, the last line was, I'm feeling rather sick. Okay, so the last line was, I'm feeling rather sick. It's not that he is rather sick of working, but he is not feeling very well. So the answer for this question is not feeling very well is the same with feeling rather sick. Okay, so not feeling very well has the same meaning with feeling rather sick. Not sick of working, yeah, is different. And number 3, the last line was the family's business just established last year. We heard the word established last year. Okay. So established is the same with founded, and then last year is the same with a year ago. So the best answer is alpha. This one is alpha 2. And for number 4, the last line was the plane landed right on schedule. And we can tell that the answer is Charlie, right? The plane arrived on time. So on schedule is the same with on time. And for number 5, the last line was I will run in and put my suit on. Okay, put my suit on is change clothes and then go swimming. Right, so the best answer for number 5 is Charlie. Okay, so this is the second key strategy. Find answers with synonyms. So after you focus on the last line, try to find answers which has similar ideas, similar words, or synonymous word with the last line. It will help you to find answers quickly, and it will also to look for answers more carefully. Right. Now, the last key strategies for listening part A is avoid similar sounds. So you use this strategy if you do not understand the complete conversation, and you can find the correct answer by choosing answers with the most different sound. Let's take a look at the example.
Example from the paper TOEFL tests.
Why couldn't Mark come with us?
He was searching for a new apartment.
What does the woman say about Mark? TOEFL exercise 3. In this exercise,
So on the recording, you hear, why couldn't Mark come with us? He was searching for a new apartment. What does the woman say about Mark? So again, you have to focus on the last line. He was searching for a new apartment. So let's say you do not understand the complete conversation, but you still remember the sound of the words. And what you have to do is don't choose answers that has similar sound or similar words. For example, the word department almost sounds the same with the word apartment. Okay, the word research is almost the same with the word searching. And the sound of appointment and church also almost sounds the same with the word search and apartment. So the most different sound is bravo. He was looking for a place to live and also has the same meaning with the last line. Searching for is the same with looking for, and then a new apartment is the same with a place to live. So the best answer is bravo. So by doing this, even if you do not understand the complete conversation, but you remember the sound of the words on the last line, you can still choose the best answer, which is the most different sound. The most different sound. So never choose answer in part A because it has similar words. Always try to choose the most different sound. Okay, so generally the answer will be answer with the most different sound, because answer with similar sounds usually try to trick you, try to trap you. Okay, let's do the exercise 3 now, number 1 to number 5. Read ahead. Okay.
TOEFL Exercise 3. In this exercise, listen carefully to the short conversation and question in the recording, and then choose the best answer to the question. You should be careful to avoid answers with similar sounds. Number 1.
How long until you'll be ready to leave?
First, I need to water the grass.
What does the woman mean? Number 2.
Do you think I should buy this sweater?
But it doesn't really seem to fit right.
What does the woman mean? Number 3.
Is Walter's job near here?
Walter's been commuting to Boston on a regular basis.
What does the man say about Walter? Number 4.
Did Bob memorize every detail in the chapter?
He wasn't able to master the lesson.
What does the man say about Bob? Number 5.
It's so sad what happened to the animals.
Yes, it is. Whenever there's a forest fire, many animals die.
What does the woman mean?
All right, let's discuss it one by one. Number 1, the last line was, first, I need to water the grass. Okay, so you can see here that the word grass is almost similar with glass, crash, right? And then cash. So you have to be careful not to be tricked or not to choose the answer with similar sound. So the most different sound is Charlie, right? The lawn is to dry. It also has the same meaning with I need to water the grass. So because the lawn is to dry, he needs to water the grass. Okay, lawn is another word for grass. For number 2, the last line was, it doesn't seem to fit right. It doesn't seem to fit right. So fit, almost similar with fit, fat, and feel. Okay, the best answer is alpha or A, the sweater's the wrong size because the woman say it doesn't seem to fit right. Okay, so the sweater's the wrong size. For number 3, the last line was, it's been commuting. Okay, commuting is almost sounds similar with computer, communicates, communities. The best answer is delta because commuting has the same meaning with traveling back and forth. Okay, so we avoid similar sounds. We choose D. For number 4, the last one was couldn't master the lesson. I couldn't master the lesson. Couldn't master the lesson. Master has almost sounds similar with matter, massive, and most of. Okay, couldn't master the lesson is similar to you couldn't learn the lesson. Has the same idea with bravo, B. You couldn't learn the lesson. Master here, learn. And for number 5, the last line was, whenever there is a forest fire, many animals die. Okay, not first fire, not first frost, but forest fires, and then died. Okay, it's the same with kill. So the best answer is bravo. So the synonym are kill. Okay, so this answer just wants to trick you. Okay, first fire, first frost. So the best answer is B. So you have to be careful with answers with similar sounds but different meaning. What we want is different sound but similar meaning. Okay, so these are the 3 key strategies in listening part A. Okay, so in today's lesson, in today's session, we would like to introduce you to the format of the task and also to discuss the key strategies in listening comprehension. And this is the first part of listening comprehension, which is part A. Okay, listening comprehension part A, one short conversation followed by one question. One short conversation is followed by one question. Okay, let's do a recap. Okay, so as you listen for each short conversation, so the first strategy is to focus on the second line or the last line of the conversation. And keep in your mind that the correct answer is probably a restatement of a keyword or idea in the second line of the conversation. So that's why you have to find answers with synonyms of the keyword or the idea. And keep in mind that certain structures and expressions are tested regularly in listening part A. So later on, we will discuss the detailed strategies in your next meeting. So we will discuss how you can understand different structures, and then functional expressions and idiomatic expressions that are regularly or commonly tested in listening part A. And keep in mind that these questions generally progress from easy to difficult. So the difficult part usually contains idiomatic expressions, functional expressions. Read the answers and choose the best answer to each question. So remember, you have to answer the questions quickly, but also carefully. Okay? There are always answers that tries to fool you, that try to trick you. Okay? So you will choose the incorrect answer. So try to do it carefully, read the answers, and choose the best answer to each question. And remember, even if you do not understand the complete conversation, you can find the correct answer by choose answers with the statement of keywords and ideas, and choose answers with the most different sound, or avoid similar sound. So that's the recap for part A. Now we will continue with part B.